Hello everyone, thank you for being here in what is going to be just a simple little Krieg guide that's been asked a few times for me to put together and try to do. Basically, I've been streaming on Twitch personally, and a few people were asking me to make a little guide video or to always see my my talent tree. And with this build, well, I wanted to decide to make a little video on it to show people and showcase it a little bit for what it can do and what you might be able to do with it. The whole idea with this build here in particular is that with it, it's centered around mainly the mania tree and your melee damage. Now, I know I'm very heavy down in the Hellborn tree by the looks of it, but that's not entirely for the fire damage that's going to be going with it. It's mainly for the purpose of survivability and mainly the purpose of surviving and release the beast. So with it, obviously, since it's mainly melee-centric, that taking Empty the Rage and Feed the Meat are two perfect talents to go. Melee damage, more health for survivability, that the usual get-go. And then when I get to the third tree, I'll take Strip the Flesh, because I'm going to be mixing that with the Buzzaxe Bombardier ability, so that my axes will explode on contact when I'm throwing. Beyond that, Salt the Wound, more melee damage after getting hit, and since I'm going to be running around in enemies' faces, I'm going to get hit a lot, so Salt the Wound's pretty handy for this. In case I get down, Redeem the Soul is very handy, especially if you have the weapons for it, say a Herald in general, which I do have in the inventory, but I'm not going to be using that to showcase the build. Silence the Voices, which to some people may sound iffy, but if you're throwing your weapon, you have no chance to trigger Silence the Voices, but you still have the melee damage being added onto your damage. And of course, Release the Beast, which will let us basically always be able to use Buzzaxe Rampage as long as we are down to at least 33% health or more by doing that. And the added bonus of this ability is the fact that we have the damage reduction of 50%, beyond past just the melee damage that it gives us as well. So going down the Bloodlust tree, I know some people would think, well, if you're going to go melee build, why not get Blood Trance to increase the length of your Buzzaxe Rampage? Well, the answer for that is basically the whole idea is to survive, and if you're I think sometimes for me anyway, if I'm in my Buzzaxe Rampage too long, and even with fire healing or kill on heal, it's sometimes a little bit tricky to just stay alive in that. So going in short bursts and then being able to reslag your enemies before triggering your Buzzaxe Rampage again, especially with Release the Beast, is somewhat a preference of mine. So these two points are really irrelevant because I'm not really using guns. I choose magazine size, so if I have that, I can keep using my Slaga or Grog nozzle for much longer periods without reloading to slag my enemies. And then, of course, Taste the Blood, which I find to be the more important talent point here, so that you can have more damage reduction when you're in your Buzzaxe Rampage to stack with your Release the Beast. I don't know how it stacks together or how it adds up together, but hey, more damage reduction, the better, right? And of course, Buzzaxe Bombardier for the thrown weapon effect. And I had one extra skill point at the end of this, and since I'm using a legendary sickle mod, I decided to get Feel the Blood because hey, I have some I love to use fastballs on Krieg. Corrosive or fire fastballs, so melee kills increasing the grenade damage for every Bloodlust stack. Sure. Melee kills increasing each grenade damage per stack of kill. Yeah, sure, I'll take that. I can use that when I'm coming in and out of the form if I need to kill something, or more importantly, destroy a goddamn surveyor, or something akin to that. But that brings us over to the Hellborn tree, and you have the ability to either killing an enemy will increase your chance of causing elemental effects, or to have the chance to increase your burn damage and increase the chance to light yourself on fire with those such effects. I chose this one because this will have at least some more synergy instead of the kill skill to go with Fire Fiend. Sure, you can increase your chance of igniting enemies, but I think with how fast Krieg swings enough, you're going to light yourself on fire. It's better to be lit on fire, especially for the 50% damage reduction that you can get with your numbed nerves. So it's a talent perk that I personally enjoy. Aside from that, more melee damage again, because it's not you're not really aiming for the crit spot's not 100% the best thing to do. Sometimes it's better just to go for body chalk, especially if you try to use this build against larger opponents. It's kind of hard to hit the crit spot, or sometimes you want to just whack the back of a surveyor. But I prefer hitting the eyes of surveyors. I probably recommend this more to when dealing with super badass loaders. That way, when you knock their arms off and they're just sitting there and there's no crit spot to hit anymore, at least you can still do more melee damage. Or a rabid, because holy hell, hitting rabids in their crit spots next to impossible. So more damage for the melee and all in all. Delusional damage, elemental status effects, any of them can light yourself on fire. I want to slag my opponents before we go before we use our Buzzaxe Rampage and release the beast form, so I get this to try and get us on fire so we take less damage and further increase our survivability. Also, as a note, these all work together with Fire Fiend, where your melee attacks are igniting everybody. So at that point I was able to get elemental empathy, which is the important one, especially for when you're in your Buzzaxe Rampage, because with elemental empathy, any elemental damage being done is healing you. So that that means the fire damage that all your melee attacks or thrown weapon attacks are doing when they light the enemy on fire. You're going to be getting healed for that burn damage. And again, another reason why having increased burn damage is extremely handy in my opinion. And I got Raving Retribution because, hey, you're on fire, why not throw some fireballs to help heal you as well while you're in the Buzzaxe Rampage. And then I had a leftover point after maxing out all the others, so I threw that into Flame Flare to increase the duration of burn effects on me. So I'm burning more, I'm keeping the numb nerves up on a longer period, and I can apply more burn effects to stack on top of each other with my melee attack. So hey, that's nice, more healing. Anyway, guys, so now I'll gladly showcase just exactly what this does after the whole explanation. Okay, and welcome back. So this is where I'm going to be showcasing the build, basically, everybody, and I'm just going to talk on like the gear that I'm using for this build, or items that you might want to use as well with it. First and foremost, and probably most critically, is the slag weapon, which the number one that comes to my mind with this build is using the Slagga. And I know there's also the Grog Nozzle that exists, but for this melee build, I prefer to use the Slagga for the sake of just slagging my enemies and still taking damage instead of any healing at this point. Because with the Slagga, I'm going to be running literally straight forward at my enemies, shooting left and right with this thing, slagging them all up, so that for once they pop me down to 33% of my health, I can use Release the Beast. So the healing with the Grog Nozzle just doesn't suit my playstyle with this build, even though I also do plan to go in and melee them while I'm waiting for my health to drop so I can use Release the Beast. So, in melee attacks and Grog Nozzle will heal tremendously, so this way I can actually use my talents how I'm actually hoping to use them. So I prefer to use the Slagga with this build, and honestly, the only other gun I contemplated mainly using in this build is an unkempt herald. It doesn't have to be double penetrating, even though it's the stronger version of it, unless you're using a B. So hard prefix, stiff prefix, any other prefix, it'll work just fine. But the double penetrating is the one I have for showcasing on this case, and I might use it a little bit, but I'm mainly going to be using the Slagga and my melee attack. And why? Because it's ridiculously strong against most normal enemies. That's why I believe this build alone, with just melee damage and a slagging weapon, could carry you, if you're careful about it, at least up to overpowered 5 before you have to start dealing with creatures like Dukino's mom. Literally, Dukino's mom is probably the bane of this build, next to Saturn, without it just taking forever to whittle them down slowly, and let alone try to survive with Dukino's mom's bullshit electric balls. But aside from that, that's why I say this build's perfect for carrying you quickly to overpowered 5 with just a Slagga in hand. But as for why we got the Herald, well, Strip the Flesh, Herald, it works well. It's one of the few guns Krieg can increase the damage of, so that's why I got the Unkempt Herald, just because Strip the Flesh, and that's explosive damage. So going down to the other abilities, the main mod I like to use with this one is the Legendary Sickle Class mod, which increases your melee damage by, as you see, 56% or other percents of varying parts, and with a whole buttload of different abilities. The main ones that I like for ability-wise is, it increases more melee damage in terms of Empty My Rage, Silence the Voices, Pain is Power for more melee damage, but one in particular that I love is getting the extra 5 points and Taste the Blood for all the more damage reduction to stack up and help me survive when I'm in Buzzaxe Rampage and Release the Beast. So that's a lot of damage reduction. Is why I especially prefer to use the sickle mod. Of course, melee damage does release the beast as well. A lot of you might question why I be using the Rough Rider when, hey, you're so melee oriented, why not use a Hide of Terramorphous or use a Love Thumper? Well, the thing is that with the Rough Rider, it gives me more damage resistance. That's a pretty big plus, but more importantly is the health. This shield nearly gives me another 1 million at max health added on, with no shield capacity. So with that in mind, it increases my chance of survivability, especially in Release the Beast, because again, I'm only going to be able to heal from fire damage ignited on by my axe and kills. So it just helps me guarantee my survivability in that form, especially if I want to hang back behind any terrain or cover, just throw my axe at an enemy, such as, like, you know, super badass loaders, just in case, because they will hurt you, especially in the overpowered modes. So I prefer to use a Rough Rider and just not worry about the roid damage I could be getting from other shields, just because this helps guarantee my survivability. It's mainly the health part, but the damage resistance is just a big plus to help add on to Release the Beast and my Buzzaxe Rampage. Aside from that, I have an explosive fastball on the character, and my main other grenade I like to use is the Magic Missile. Magic Missile, typical slagging and grenade recharging, while explosive fastball I like to use to intertwine with the melee kill stacks to increase my grenade damage, which fastballs are bloody amazing for helping you deal with surveyors as they're trying to fly towards you and electrocute you. Just throw one good grenade and boom, they're down. You're good to go from there. So it's typically what I like to use, especially just to help me deal with surveyors. Otherwise, I'm probably more so rocking Magic Missile. As for my relic, I have a Might of the Stairs for the melee damage. The override cooldown rate would help in a few more additional points if I put those there, but I didn't feel they were necessary or needed at all, since I didn't think it wouldn't be any beneficial to me. So it is mainly for the melee damage. So you can make do with any melee relic at all. Just melee relic is perfect, because you don't need CDR, since Release the Beast automatically recharges your cooldown rate. So I mean, I'm going to be using Frostburn because there's plenty of bandits here, and bandits are probably the ones I probably struggle the most with. Sure, these ones have flamethrowers, but ultimately I struggle with bandits the most on overpowered mode, especially the assassins. And as you can see, I'm like slagging them. It's absolute destruction in this build. So I'm not even kidding, destruction. And this is on overpowered level 81 enemies and more. It's pretty great. The build itself is rather strong. It just, like any build I felt with overpowered modes, dealing with anyone that shoots at me, especially the assassins in the later ones, are the most difficult. So I figured this would be a decent place to try and showcase the build. I thought about using Bloodshot Stronghold, but I can't control the sound there, because hey, bugs. But as you can see, it legitimately is rather strong, and even then I'm taking plenty of damage, and then even if I do, hey, Release the Beast will come save my ass. Gallon spiders, hey, all that armor, screw you. Guess what I got for you? Buzzaxe the face. And you can just whittle them down until you can hit their sweet tail butt and just go from there. It's honestly astonishing the damage that you can pull off with Release the Beast, or even just your throwing weapon in general with this build, because it's positively destructive if you actually hit the target with the axe instead of hitting around them. If I could actually, there we go. Well, now that's just not working. But it usually works. Sometimes I get a loud chunking noise that'll do the damage. But either way, I feel like this showcases the build just fine and nearly perfectly for what you guys might be looking for. Against nomads, against basic bandits, the damage is destructive. Slagging definitely helps, but you honestly don't have to worry about actually slagging them too much. Your basic damage alone is good enough to take out most basic enemies. And against creatures like Scourge, against larger creatures, you can easily just bait them into permanently being stuck in always just circling around, similar to how this Arsonist is with me. Because if you get in their melee range, they will try to always try to melee attack you. It's just, and then they try to follow you, they try to come after you, and it's very easy to manipulate the AI through those orders. it's very easy to manipulate the AI. You see, he's going for the melees. I'm just running in a circle around him. He cannot hit me worth anything. This is why I say the build exactly would work. And you know, you can always play it safe to try and get more damage or prepare your damage against certain badasses, because hey, badass Psycho Lunatics actually do hit hard, enough to knock him straight down, but now he's slagged, and it's just kind of, hey, come chase me, and Buzzaxe, you know, it's staggering. The damage does well enough, especially if you go immediate. Get your health right back for any damage you took, and you're just good to go, non-stop. And that's why I say it works, especially for at least up to overpowered 5. It really works to overpowered 5. Because you don't have to worry about too many specific individuals that really resist either your melee attacks or have abnormally large health pools, such as Dukino's mom or Saturn. Creatures like Scorch, Bonehead, or the assassins that you deal with are ridiculously easy for this build to honestly devastate. I mean, I'm not saying if you put this build with 4 assassins all at the same time, it would destroy the assassins. No, they're probably going to really hurt you. It's hard to stay alive with all the assassins really trying to wailing on you all at the same time. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely hate the assassins. But against the overpowered 5 assassins, it works perfectly, and I have another build video that I'm going to be putting together. So I hope you guys have liked at least what you see with this build. I think it's one of my favorite Krieg builds, especially for the melee aspects of it. And I know Bloodsplosion is a hell of a lot of fun, but the whole thing was survivability for the overpowered units. That was the main allure of the build was survivability in the overpowered nodes, and it gave me that. And people in my stream did ask me the video, and so this is why I made it. Aside from that, I'm gonna make a few more build videos. I think the other Krieg explosive build and demonstrating how the flakler would be useful. My build that I have on Zero that people would like to see, because you can use pretty much any guns on that build, and whatever else might come to mind. I have ideas around doing a Fallout New Vegas playthrough, modded, for people to enjoy, sort of like an RP playthrough of New Vegas that involves, you know, certain mods. Because I saw a mod that inserts a Psycho Buzzaxe, and if I can dig it around for more mods, I think it would be honestly a hell of a lot of fun to, you know, put Krieg in the Wasteland and go from there. And I figured I could do honestly an episodial release of that on YouTube. That could be interesting. I thought people might enjoy. Aside from that, I don't have any more ideas just yet, and if anyone has ideas that are watching this, I would love it if you write in the comments any ideas, or even any feedback that you think I could do to make these videos even better than what they are. Because this is my first one. I think I did. Oh, I'm in the fire. I think I did decently. Can I even get out of here? I've never fallen in here in my life, so I'm not 100% sure. Okay, I think I'm kind of stuck. Well, oh, there we go. And so if you have any feedback to try and improve, I would gladly and love to hear the feedback or any other ideas that you guys have, though. For now, though, this was the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you ever want to check out the stream, my stream or anything with what I'm doing, I'll put a link to that down below in the chat. Down below in the comments for you to click. How do you talk? How do you words? How do you English? For you to click and check out if you like. And that's gonna be it. Thank you all for your time, and I hope this build possibly helps you if you end up using it. Thank you all, and hey, have a good one.
It's a bloody business, Bates!